97.3 ESPN presents The Sports Bash with Mike Gill. It's time for Football at 4 with Adam Caplan, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast.
We expect to win every time we step on the field. That's just the mindset and the culture that we have.
Now, live from inside the Matt Black Kia Studios, it's Football at 4.
It is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast, which drops tomorrow morning at 6, recapping this one. The latest one is out now, and the Inside the Birds pregame show starts live at 5. Jeff Mosher, Trey Thomas, Greg Cosell, and this man. He is the third member of the NWO. It is Adam Caplan. He joins us now on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. Adam, welcome, pal.
Guys, good to talk to you. You know, I never had a finisher back in my day, unfortunately.
You could do the leg drop. Come on, man.
Yeah, but that's Hogan, man. I needed to come up with something else. It might have been the four knuckles. Who knows?
By the way, Football 4 brought to you by PlaySugarHouse.com. Let's get into it. We got a lot as tonight. You got coverage here at 7 o'clock, Eagles and the Giants. We know a mash unit for the Eagles. They've had 66 different players play in a game that's second in the NFL. You got a couple guys back, but it's more who's not playing tonight. Miles Sanders out. What does that mean for the running attack, if anything at all? Are they even going to turn around and hand it off tonight?
Yeah, that's a good question. We know Doug Peterson's inclination is to throw the football. And I know that people pointed out that Boston Scott's best games last year in his career were clearly against the Giants, and that's true. He actually showed volume. He handled a lot of carries. The question is tonight, will they even give him a chance to run? I do think they will. Now, with Lane Johnson coming back at right tackle, and we'll see if he can last even a half, but with Jordan Mailata, who played, by the way, very well, despite the way that the line looked, it really had nothing to do with Mailata or anyone else other than Jamon Brown, who was cut. It was just that one guy ruined the whole thing. So I do believe they'll run the ball a little bit more, make more of a commitment, but we know what's going to happen. The way that you beat the Giants is you throw the football, and you do it against the opposite of James Bradbury, who's terrific. He's had a great year coming over as a free agent signee at cornerback for the Giants, coming over for the Panthers. But, and the thing that we'd like to see, and, we've talked about it on our Inside the pregame show, is that we'd like to see them actually run a screen pass, which seems to be passé because Doug Peterson clearly believes that they can't handle it. That's why he hasn't called many. But I think tonight would be a perfect opportunity with Lane Johnson back. Mailata did a good job. Kelsey obviously is a puller. You've got some guys who can get the job done.
Yeah, and I know that obviously Miles Sanders, how many games could they be without him? Because this might not just be a one-week thing. It looks like it's going to be more. Yeah,
I'm told it's up to 2. That's kind of their thinking. Actually, a source with knowledge situation told me yesterday that that's what he's operating on. So we don't know yet, though. We do not know exactly what type of knee injury it is, because typically a 2-week injury is either a bruised knee, a knee contusion, which has got blood, you got to get the blood out, or a grade 1 MCL sprain. Now, by the way, you could play with a grade 1 MCL sprain. That's what Chris Carson's playing with. He actually played the week after. So we don't know what it is, but it's a minor injury, and it was I don't know if you saw the play. It was very awkward on that long run, how he landed, and he tried to protect himself. So thank goodness it's not a bad injury. It's Boston Scott, Corey Clement, and by the way, they did not does not look like they added anybody else. It's Jason Huntley will be the third running back tonight.
All right, Adam Caplan, and don't forget, check the guys out at 5 o'clock on the social media channels Inside the Birds. They've been breaking news before games, so make sure you check that out. Alshon Jeffery, not going to play. DeSean Jackson will play. Jalen Reagor on track. So the wide receiver position is going to be very interesting. So how do you see DeSean Jackson being used in his return tonight?
Yeah, it's a good question. So it is not known how many plays he can handle. Typically, your NFL team has 60 plays a game on offense and defense. I don't know that he'll even play half of those snaps because, remember, he does have a hamstring strain. As we reported on our show, is a grade 1 that's typically up to 2 weeks. He actually took him 3 weeks to come back after the third week, to be honest with you. As I'm told, he looked last Thursday, felt he was going to play. He actually told people he'd play. During sometime Friday, I'm told it tightened up on him, and he just let them know that he was not going to be ready. So they had him, as you know, listed as out. Well, he took, I'm told, all the first team reps of the walkthrough, barring a unforeseen setback. pregame warm-ups tonight, and it is hot today. It is currently in the high 70s. This is global warming at its not finest. It's very hot here and warm and tropical. As long as he doesn't have a setback with his hamstring, he'll be in the lineup. Though I think it's going to be he and John Hightower at that Z position opposite Travis Fulgham, who will be the X and should be the X the rest of the season.
By the way, I'm predicting a 40-yard plus touchdown from John Hightower tonight. I think Hightower.
Will he catch it?
I think he will. He gets,
okay.
Like they fall asleep. With Jackson out there, Jackson comes off. They fall asleep, and there goes Hightower. Run right past him. Boom, 40-yard bomb.
All right. Well, he had a 50-yarder last week. There you go.
Yep, no doubt about it. All right, so with Alshon Jeffery, what is the update on the calf? Because that's a new one that was added to the injury report.
Yeah, so Hunter, yesterday I just put on Twitter, hey, not only did Jeffrey Dillon come back from his broken foot and the rehab on it and practicing with it, it's a calf injury, which we didn't know about. There's no update. As a matter of fact, they don't know when he's going to be able to play. It's not serious, but until he could go for a full practice, which he has not had since last December, so it's been 10 months since he's had a normal practice. We don't know when he's going to be back. So right now it's going to be Fulgham as your X. J.J. Arcega-Whiteside will back him up. We know that we just told you who the Z's are. We know Greg Ward's in your slot. Those are your 5 receivers that will dress, and they'll go from there. And then, look, after the bye, they could actually have 8 receivers available with Rager expected back then, barring something unforeseen. As Mosher reported, he got the cast off the thumb over a week ago. That's a good sign. So I'll tell you what, guys, a bunch of players could return after the bye here.
Do you anticipate more of Jalen Hurts in this game, a more Jalen Hurts package based off of not having Sanders, not having Hurts?
I do. That's exactly why you do it. You get him in a wildcat formation in shotgun. See what he can do. He's got a strong arm. By the way, did you see that 1.5 step drop against Pittsburgh when he threw a fastball? Those are the kind of things you can do with him. You could roll him outright. He throws the ball well on the run. I saw it in training camp. You're not going to give him a lot of volume, but you're going to give him some plays that he could run. And that, Mosher and I don't agree on this because we kind of argued over it on our show, but I do believe what they did with him definitely was a spark. I don't think there's any question about it. And Hunter, I expect to see more of that. And look, without Miles Sanders, and the way that Boston Scott has performed, which has not been very good, and Corey Clement does not look like the same player he once did at 17, they need something in that run game, and I expect a little spark there.
Adam Caplan, Inside the Birds. The Inside the Birds podcast will drop tomorrow morning, recapping. Are you doing one for tomorrow morning at 6? Will that one be ready?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Just making sure.
Always after the game, man. We'll be up till 2 a.m. No, I'm just kidding. We'll knock it out, and we'll have it ready for you at 6 a.m.
All right. Also, you mentioned Ertz, the tight end spot. He'll go on IR, so he's out until around Thanksgiving. Dallas Goedert may be back next week, it looks like. But tonight you're going with Richard Rodgers, and I would imagine Jason Kroom. So do you see any 12 personnel?
Well, they'll do some because that's kind of what they've done. But, yeah, when you're down your 2 tight ends, and Ertz won't be back. The earliest he can be back by rules by week 11. So they're going to have to do something else. Jason Kroom, Greg Cosell, who does our show, NFL Films, he liked his tape from the Bills, and he's a pretty athletic tight end. The Kroom touchdown was hilarious. No one was around him. He kind of was looking around, and he caught the ball. 1 target, 1 catch, 1 touchdown. He'll have a bigger role tonight. He absolutely is their second tight end. And, I think it'll be more 11. I don't think there's any choice here with DeSean. Now, that DeSean Jackson is back. Absolutely. Yeah. This gives you the opportunity to do more 11. In fact, they could go 4, which is 10 personnel. They can go 4 wide because they've got the versatility now. And the thing that we learned is Travis Fulgham, though he's their ex, he's been moved around to Z, and they move him around a lot as well.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see if, when everybody's back, or even just like with Jackson and Fulgham now, does, Fulgham even get a bigger role because Jackson takes more attention? I'm very interested to see how they view Fulgham once he's out there with, guys who are a little bit more accomplished.
It's interesting. Someone said to me, who I really respect in the NFL business, said that his news efforts is Travis Fulgham. He locks in on him. As a matter of fact, he was locking in on him when Hurts was healthy, which is interesting. I had not really looked at that very much, but yes, I think that Fulgham's role is still going to continue to grow. But they're not asking him to go deep. He's been shallow crosses, sideline routes, not a lot of deep passes past 20 yards. That's where Jackson will come in and is your guy Hightower. So this is, I'll tell you what now, if Jackson could give them 20 snaps, 30 snaps tonight and not have any setbacks and take a couple deep shots with them, you're going to see Jabril Peppers is one of their blitzers. I don't know how much you're going to be able to blitz because if the Eagles can protect, the plays are going to be there. Other than Bradbury, they don't cover very well.
Right.
And, the Steelers did this in week 1. They went after their secondary.
Let's look at the defense. Malik Jackson had a good game last week. He had a couple tackles behind the line. He had a couple quarterback hits. He's been very good in getting pressure up the middle. He's out this week. And I guess that means more snaps for Javon Hargrave and Fletcher Cox. And I guess Hassan Ridgeway would be in that number 3 spot. Yes, and
they brought up T.Y. McGill. They called him up, so he'll be their 4th D tackle. He'll dress. And they'll have a good rotation. That's the thing. In this NFL, particularly when the weather is warm as it is, I've never seen it this warm in late October. They're going to have game time temperature should be around 70 degrees. They're going to have that heavy rotation. And I will tell you, the word that I got from NFL people from other teams who've watched and graded the Giants tape, the Giants have the 2nd worst offensive line in the National Football League. The Bengals are clearly number 1. The Giants are number 2. So the Eagles D-line and Jim Schwartz, who hates the blitz, should be wide-eyed all night, and they should be able to get pressure on Daniel Jones pretty well.
Gil and I were having this conversation earlier in the show about Hargrave. What have you seen out of Hargrave to this point? I know he was battling with the injury in the beginning of the year, but what have you seen in tape or heard from Hargrave in his game through this part of the season?
Yeah, he's had some good snaps. First game back, he clearly looked like a guy who had been out for 6 weeks. No, he's getting there. He's not quite to where he was before the pectoral injury, but he's getting there. That's good. And I'll tell you what, Josh Sweat, guys, I'm telling you right now, this kid has been he's been a player that no one outside the Eagles or who watches the Eagles knows anything about. He has been terrific, and it's worked with the way that they've used him and getting Vinny Curry back. Let's not forget about him. Getting him back last week, that's going to help even more as they go along here. Listen, without Jackson, you may see Vinny Curry line up inside tonight, where they have a distinct advantage. Their center, Nick Gates, who's the Giants center, is below average, I'm told. Hernandez is okay, Zeitler is okay, but they're not athletes at all. Where I think this thing is going to be one more for them is inside. I think Fletcher Cox's guy is going to feast tonight, and Andrew Thomas is back at left tackle. I'm told he's really not ready. He's their first-round pick.
Yeah.
And right tackle has been a disaster with Fleming, who came over from the Cowboys. So this should be a game where they could dominate. You might see some strip sacks tonight from the Eagles D-line.
Yeah, I know DeCecco says he wants Avery snaps and Sweat snaps up against Thomas on that left tackle. Just give him a couple, 8 to 10 snaps and just let him go.
Yeah, and the speed by Avery, we saw the breakout game against the Niners where he had the 5 quarterback hits where he was unstoppable. We haven't seen much, we didn't see much from him last week because of the game plan. But this week is a great time to do it. And Jason Garrett is so conservative with his play calling. Despite having Sterling Shepard back this week, and it'll be a factor because they'll spread the Eagles out if Garrett's smart. I don't worry about Jason Garrett as a play caller. There's just some play callers that I know because he won't take advantage of their talent. They probably won't score a lot of points tonight, but with a more imaginative play caller, I think the Eagles secondary would be a little bit more peril than they would if you had someone like Sean Payton calling the plays. But Jason Garrett is not a guy that I think is a great play caller.
Adam Caplan at Caplan NFL Inside the Birds podcast. You mentioned the secondary. Avonte Maddox available. So Jalen Mills, what happens with him? How do they use Will Parks? I think getting Maddox back maybe moves some dominoes here.
Yeah. So, Mike, this is the first time that I think we're going to see what Jim Schwartz really wants to do. We saw a little bit of it last week. But, it was Will Parks' first game back, so we knew he wouldn't play every snap. He played around half the snaps. Parks, I'm told, was brought in. One of the specific roles was to cover the tight end. Now, Jalen Mills did a great job against Mark Andrews, completely shut him down. The touchdown to Nick Boyle was, give Lamar Jackson credit. It was an incredible pass where he contorted his body a certain way to somehow throw it, and Boyle caught it. But fact of the matter is, the Eagles did a great job against Andrews. And Evan Ingram is a super athlete at tight end. He's hurt the Eagles in the past, and he's healthy. He's not usually been healthy like this as we get to week 7, and he's healthy. Will Parks is not a great athlete, good enough. I do believe we'll probably see Parks more on him than Mills tonight, but we'll see how they do it. But it would seem to me that Parks would be a better matchup than Mills would do, and Mills will certainly be back at his safety position. Then, of course, what do the Eagles do at corner? Well, Maddox clearly has to go on the outside. That's all they really have. Believe it or not, they had Roby Coleman out there for majority of the snaps last week, which I was shocked that they did that. I did not see that coming. Roby Coleman, 5'7" and 0.2 of an inch, did a decent job on the outside last week.
All right, so many more things. Adam Caplan will try to get in as much as we can in the time we have. Let's go to linebacker, where Duke Riley should return. What does that mean? You saw a lot of snaps from Alex Singleton last week. You even saw snaps from Sean Bradley and Davion Taylor. And, of course, Nate Geary gets all the snaps.
I believe that Alex Singleton will see a lot of time, despite Duke Riley coming back. Alex Singleton is their best linebacker. T.J. Edwards was before he hurt his hamstring injury. He's on injury reserve. I strongly believe that it's going to be Singleton. It has to be. They got to do the right thing here, play their best players, and they can't have favorites. The linebackers coach, Ken Flagel, has too many favorites, and he's got to play Singleton the most. Gary, when Edwards comes back, we should see less of Gary. If Singleton continues to play at this high level that he's played at, he did not do anything wrong last week. I'm told 2 straight weeks. He graded out really well, so he should play quite a bit in tonight's game.
If the Giants were going to win this football game, what do they need to exploit when it comes to the Eagles? Because we were talking to Jordan from the Giants, who covers the Giants, and I was talking about the linebacking problem. And do they have a weapon that can beat that linebacking core? You would think they do, right? In Evan Ingram, but can they exploit that matchup? Can Jason Garrett make that work?
Well, no, that was I was saying, Hunter. They have not really done that. They have not. He's been healthy. What I would do, this is what if Garrett gets it right. Here's what's going to happen. They'll have Ingram line up in the slot. They'll get him line up on Gary when he's out there. That's an absolute mismatch. Yes, Gary's an athlete, but he's awful eyes. He doesn't have instincts to play the position. He's a former safety. They'll win that. He's much bigger. Ingram is much bigger than Gary. That's one way they're going to win it. Screen passes. You could see Deion Lewis, a former Eagle. Remember, he was drafted by the Eagles many years ago as a 5th-round pick. Devontae Freeman was a pretty accomplished pass catcher, but he doesn't pass block well. He's also more of a grinder in the run game. But what I'm doing now that Sterling Shepard is back, I am going 11 personnel, and I'm making Avonte Maddox be an outside corner where I've got an advantage. I'm going to go after those Eagles corners. If he's smart, Garrett, he hasn't shown me that he's smart enough yet. I spread the Eagles out. I'm not going 12 a lot. I know they can do it with Caden Smith, who was a waiver claim last year, did a good job when Ingram was hurt, but I would spread them out. That's how they have to win.
Who plays the guard spots tonight? Well,
they have 3 choices. Matt Pryor was activated yesterday, not today. The Eagles announced it today, but he was actually activated yesterday off the COVID list. They have his choice. They could do it move Opeta to left guard. They could use Pryor there. They could move Herbig over there. They've got 3 choices. I have a hard time believing we're going to have an update at about 5:10 on this on Inside the Birds, but I really don't think it'll be Pryor. Why? Because he didn't even participate in the walkthrough yesterday. He couldn't because he was not allowed in the building or able to practice until after 4 p.m. Eastern yesterday. He could be in meetings last night. I just have a hard time believing you're gonna start a guy who had not even been on the field. That's just I know I talked to the Titans. They did have walkthroughs. They had a lot, and they had what are called jog throughs and speed walkthroughs. But I have a hard time believing that they're going to do that with Pryor. So I think it's you've got your choice of moving Opeta over there, or you could do combination. But it would be fairly surprising if it's Pryor.
Right, and I guess the final thing would be if Lane Johnson can't get through the game, is Pryor being held to be that spot, or is that Brett Toth again?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would think they would do Toth and use Pryor only as emergency. Now, here's one thing that someone suggested to me they could do, because I know coaches do this. They could work Pryor out of the game before the game around like 5 o'clock. And give him what's just a pre-practice run through. John DeFilippo used to do this with Sudfeld. He would work him out 3 hours before the game because he would not get enough practice reps. But I know other coaches have done this in the offensive line. They'll work the players out 3 hours before the game and put them through a heavy workout. Now, Stoutland does this. He's one of these coaches that does work his players out for the game pretty intensely. That's the only way you can do it. But quite frankly, you're not doing it with other players around you. So. Because that's you can't really practice him very much. So again, I feel it would be hard to do.
Adam Caplan, the Inside the Birds podcast, the Inside the Birds pregame show is coming up in about 40 minutes. They will be live on all the social media platforms, Inside the Birds, and, of course, football at 4 here on the Sports Bash. And the Eagles-Giants tonight, the winner will be in right around first place. They'll be feeling pretty good. The loser will only be about a game back. That's the NFC East. They'll have plenty more for it. Tomorrow, Jeff Mosher is here with a recap of Eagles and Giants. Who do you like tonight, Adam?
I got a 23-10 your Birds.
23-10 Eagles. All right. Adam Caplan, at Caplan NFL. Adam, as always, thanks a bunch, pal.
Yeah, guys, thank you.
All right. He, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. Football at 4 brought to you by PlaySugarHouse.com. Sign up now and get a $250 deposit matched. Go to PlaySugarHouse.com and win real money with their sports book. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.